All right, so I'm going to start off today with the latest in the WHA videos. So now that there's good reason to think that I'll be doing NHL previews soon, I'm going to do my best to get this playlist done, so we get all the seasons done, and then we can do some other videos related to the WHA as well afterwards. So the 75-76 season, kind of sort of boring comparatively speaking with the previous season, and yet not. Not at the same time. So we'll go through the standings first. First off, the Winnipeg Jets, with their now European influence on their team, embracing the idea of bringing in European players to play with them. And some players from Sweden impressed very quickly. Ulf Nilsson and Anders Hedberg, pretty major. And then, of course, they would be stripped away at a later date. We'll talk about that later. But the Winnipeg Jets went 52-27 and 2 for 106 points. Now, if you add up the number of games played, some teams played 81, some played 80, because it's the WHA. So it's just, don't. It's fine. Quebec 50-27 and 4 for 104 points. The Calgary Cowboys 41-35 and 4, 86 points. The Edmonton Oilers 27-49 and 5, 59 points for the Oilers. So we're a few years out from what would be the end for the WHA. And the Oilers don't look that great. And the Toronto Toros look worse. 24-52 and 5, 53 points. The Eastern Division is won by the Indianapolis Racers. Not that they had a great season. 35-39 and 6 for 76 points. The Cleveland Crusaders, 40 and 5, 75 points in what would be Cleveland's final season in the WHA. The Cincinnati Stingers, these guys right here. I do like this jersey. I do. I like the logo. I think it's kind of fun. So, you know, 35, 44 and 1, 71 points. For an expansion team, that's a pretty good record. The New England Whalers, well, they were last in the division, 33, 40 and 7, 73 points. But the Whalers are going to get help the following season. We're not there yet. The Houston Aeros, well, they dominate the Western Division, 53 and 27 for 106 points. They are 22 points clear of Phoenix. The Phoenix Roadrunners, 39, 35 and 6 for 84 points. The San Diego Mariners, 36, 38 and 6 for 78 points. The Minnesota Fighting Saints are 30, 25 and 4. Well above 500, 64 points, because they only played 59 games. Yesterday I did the career video on Shaky Mike Walton, and this is why Shaky Mike Walton went to the NHL to end out the season, because Minnesota didn't finish. The Denver Spurs, remember yesterday I talked about the Denver Spurs? They became the Ottawa Civics, and not for very long. Their civics lesson was, and you're done. 14, 26 and 1 for 29 points in 41 games. Remember, this is an expansion team. Just imagine in the NHL if an expansion team didn't finish a quarter of a season. Anyways. So 41 games played altogether. Not all of them in Denver. And then they just went away. Promised they wouldn't come back. So we have a preliminary round, because why not have some fun with it? The NHL playoffs are starting to have preliminary rounds at this point too. Houston wins their preliminary round against Cleveland, 3 straight. San Diego beats Phoenix in a best-of-5, 3-2 to qualify for the playoffs. In said playoffs in the quarterfinals, Winnipeg sweeps the Oilers, 4-0. New England, they take out Indianapolis, 4-3. So New England finishes 3 points behind Indianapolis. Doesn't matter. Houston beats San Diego, 4-2. And Calgary, well, they knock off the Quebec Nordiques 4-1, even though the Nordiques finished about 20 points ahead of them during the season. 18. But who's counting? It's not like they all played the same amount of games or anything. So, semifinals, Winnipeg takes out Calgary 4-1. That's where Cinderella's story ends there. And the Houston Aeros take out New England 4-3. And then in the Avco Cup final, well, Winnipeg, who swept here, lost 1 game here, they didn't lose any games in the final against Houston. 4 games straight. 4-3, 6-4, 6-3. And then to really punch it home that they're way better than their opposition from Houston, they won 9-1 to win the Avco Cup. And your playoff MVP is Ulf Nilsson. So bringing in Swedes definitely helps Winnipeg. The star power of the WHA is getting better. The finances at the heart, are not. So the players are getting better. They're doing their best to bring in the absolute best players they can find that the NHL hasn't already scooped up, and it's not going so well. October 23rd of 1975, the Stingers, they beat the Oilers 6-4 in their first game at home, and in front of a decent crowd. So Cincinnati was drawing pretty well. December 14th, Bobby Hull becomes the first WHA player to score 200 goals in the WHA. Keep in mind, these are goals that are not counted in the NHL. The NHL doesn't count them. So that's a lot of goals for Bobby Hull. A lot of goals that are wiped off. So when you look at the all-time greats, and you don't mention Bobby Hull as one of the all-time greats, it's a lot of it is that he played out his career in the WHA. January 2nd, Denver makes its move to Ottawa. They played their first home game there 5 days later. Again, imagine you're a professional hockey player, and they go, yeah, so this brand new team we just started up, yeah, we're moving. This isn't going to work. We're going to become the Ottawa Civics. Well, that name kind of sucks. That's okay. 2 weeks from now, we're not going to exist either. The Civics played their last game. They're an expansion team. How many do I have to say? I have to say this again. They're an expansion team. It's their first year. And we're going to suspend operations on January 17th. So January 2nd. All right, guys, come on. Everybody in the moving van. I don't want to go to Ottawa. Don't worry, you're not going to be there for long. What's that supposed to mean? You'll find out when we get there. Play their first game January 7th. And then on the 17th, 10 days after that, yeah, so you guys are all free agents. I don't know. We really should have thought this through. Apparently you need to play on ice. Who knew? We didn't have ice in Denver. So it's just, and I'm not saying that's what happened. It's just, it feels like there wasn't any planning. That maybe this could have been planned better. That everything with WHA was reactionary. Feels that way. Minnesota suspends operations February 28th. So the Minnesota Fighting Saints go out. But don't worry, they'll be back. April, the season ends with 4,123,121 fans having attended WHA games. That's a record. Over 4 million people watched this. So if you're one of them, congratulations. You watched this, all of this as it went down. Kudos. Mark Tardiff also set league records, 71 goals, 77 assists that year. Tardiff is one of those players that if he played his entire career in the National Hockey League, I think he'd be a Hall of Famer. There will be a career of Mark Tardiff video now that I've done the WHA videos, but I think he would have been a Hall of Famer if he played his entire career in the National Hockey League. I do. Fantastic player. And once these guys go back to the NHL, a lot of these guys show, hey, we're legit. We're legit players. We're legit star players. May, when the Jets won that Avco Cup, they are the first Canadian-based team to win the Avco Cup. So, in your face, Gary Bettman. They won it. June, the Toros, Toronto, they moved to Birmingham. I can only assume this was Gary Bettman fueled as well. They become the Birmingham Bulls. So you take a team... Nothing says intelligence about running a hockey league like saying, okay, we're going to take a team out of Toronto because we're not making enough money. We're going to move it to Alabama. Now, hear me. Where's everybody going? Hear me out. This is a really smart idea. We're going to move the team from Toronto to Alabama. Now, I'm not saying we're going to take the team from Calgary and move them to Mexico City, but I'm not saying we're not going to move them to Mexico City. They don't move them to Mexico City. It doesn't go that far. It's surprising, though, isn't it? If I did a video and I said, and then they became the Mexico City Scorpions, would anybody question that? Probably not. Yeah, checks out. Played 3 games, and then they moved to Guadalajara. That checks out. 5 games, moved to San Salvador. Seems a little sketchy, but it checks out. So, they moved back to 2 divisions as well. The 3-division thing's not really working. And they decide, we're going to have teams change ends halfway through the 3rd period. Because why not? Why? Why would you... Like, I understand the changes and the dry scrapes and stuff we have in overtime now in the NHL, but why would you have teams change ends halfway through the 3rd period? just dicking around people who pay for certain tickets in certain spots. I mean, you know, I guess it's, well, then you have 30 minutes of the home team shooting on your net. Yeah, I guess, but it's just, I don't know, it feels kind of pointless to me. It's just weird. It's one of those things you add just for the sake of adding something. We're going to change ends every 5 minutes. Now you're getting ridiculous. All right. Would it surprise anybody? No. And then in August, remember, February 28th, the Minnesota Fighting Saints go, yeah, we're done. Well, in August, the Cleveland Crusaders go, look, we're not making enough money. We need to move. And so the Minnesota Fighting Saints are reborn roughly 6 months, 7 months after they died. So the Fighting Saints 2 are born. Electric Boogaloo, right? All right. It's nothing if not entertaining, right? So Mark Tardiff would be the highest scorer in that league. 71 goals, 77 assists, 148 points. Bobby Hull, 53 goals, 70 assists for 123 points. Real Cloutier, 60 goals, 54 assists, 114 points. Ulf Nilsson, 38 goals, 76 assists for 114 points. So this is Quebec, Winnipeg, Quebec, Winnipeg. And then an American team gets in. Phoenix with Robbie Fittorick. Yeah. Robbie Fittorick offensively was a decent player. 41 goals, 72 assists, 113 points. For those old enough, you may remember him better as a coach. Chris Bordelot, Quebec, 37 goals, 72 assists, 109 points. And then Anders Hedberg, of course, of the Winnipeg Jets, 50 goals, 55 assists, 105 points. Interestingly enough, the Rookie of the Year that year, playing for the Toronto Toros, was Mark Napier, who would go on to have a decent career for Montreal and eventually end up in Edmonton. And yeah, so that's an interesting name right there. So again, we're seeing some name players. Now in goal, not as much. Michel Dion is the best goalie in the league that year, playing out of Indianapolis. 14-15-1 record for a .910 save percentage. Joe Daly of Winnipeg, 41-17-1 with a .903 save percentage. And Wayne Rutledge out of Houston, 14-10 with a .901 save percentage. Those are your three goaltenders who had a save percentage of .900 or better. So yeah, only 2 teams folded in the middle of the season. That's pretty good. And then after the end of the season, we only had 2 of them move, apparently. We're going to have teams change ends halfway through the period, because why not? Just the third, though, because it'd be silly if it was any other period but the third. Oh, WHA. It is a shame this didn't work out. I could have had so many News of the Day videos about the... Just imagine the News of the Day videos with this. So yeah, I remember a week and a half ago when Denver moved to Ottawa. Now they're dead. Franchise is gone. Players are going somewhere else. I don't know. I'll let you guys know what's happening. Oh, that would have been fun, wouldn't it? All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, WHA is the league that just doesn't know when to stop, right? Until a few years later when they had to. But we'll get into also in the next video discussions between the NHL and the WHA as they continue to discuss a possible merger. The NHL has to be looking at this and going, no, for various reasons and beyond just the reserve clause and now Europeans coming in and all these things that the NHL really has been resisting. Really has. And I know people are going to say, what about Borje-Salming? The difference is Borje-Salming was one of those exceptions rather than the rule. WHA is just fully embracing it. Just, yeah, bring all the Europeans in if you need to. Sure, we'll bring them all in. We'll see how it goes. And the NHL, it's kind of a trickle until that changes. But hey, hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And yeah, I'm wearing a Jets hat because they won the Avco Cup and a Stingers jersey. And don't be surprised when I'm wearing a Jets Heritage jersey or when I throw in a Nordiques or a Whalers as we get further through this, because there is a legacy from the WHA that is actually pretty awesome. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.